The ZKM Gameplay Exhibition is a showcase of video games as well as experimental forms of play. Now, some of these games are from a permanent collection housed at the Karlsruhe Center of Art and Media in Deutschland. We're pretty lucky to have it here. Wits University is hosting the second Fak'ugesi African Digital Innovation Festival in conjunction with the city of Johannesburg. Spanning over 3 weeks, the festival brings together gamers, programmers, artists, digital entrepreneurs, musos, 3D makers, dancers, choreographers, and hackers. In short, the Fak'ugesi Festival is a great opportunity for anyone wanting access to inspiring digital innovation. It runs until 13 September in and around the precinct of Braamfontein.
The confluence, the word that keeps coming to me is confluence. The confluence of Amaze and those Berlin energies and the way that it engages with the network of hackers and gamers and experimenters right around Europe. By bringing that here to Johannesburg, our game design program has grown. I mean, our first intake are about to graduate, and a lot of them are already doing interesting stuff with games. We've also grown this festival because this Fak'ugesi, which is a much broader festival, which is really about, not just about games, it's about trying to activate the inner city area around Wits University.
This game is kind of like tipping me upside down. It's almost as if the sky becomes the ground at certain points, and it's quite a maze. Actually, it feels like a bit of a maze. It's very simple, but yet quite a mind trick. Well, we are here to try our hand at the gaming menu. So I've just got my teeth stuck into one, and next up it is Doom. Now, the audiovisual interface of the brutal first-person shooter Doom has been changed completely. This redecoration presents the navigable environment of the original game as an art exhibition. Also goes on to say that the players encounter enemy characters, though digitized faces of various artists and other well-known people. Now, this over here looks like a breath of fresh air, and it actually is called Flow. Now, it started out as a student work, and basically it looks at a simple organism navigating its way on an underwater landscape of bizarre beauty, as they describe it. Right, we're taking it back to black and white with this one. Now, it was created by Bill Viola, and it's called The Night Journey Work in Progress. The surroundings constantly adapt in a subtle way to how the player treats the environment. So let's treat the environment. Game on. On to the next one. Well, this game is called Proteus, and just by the looks of things, it's really a play on a very retro look and feel, very solid colors, but apparently you step onto a magic land of weird and wonderful things. After the break, we play around with a couple of other games, and we chat to the organizers of the ZKM Gameplay Exhibition. I'm with Lien, who is the head of cultural programs for Sub-Saharan Africa, repping the Goethe Institute. Now, you've really been an important part of bringing this exhibition together. Why do it?
So we've been involved in gaming since about 4 years, when we helped bring the Amaze Festival, which is based in Berlin, to South Africa, to Johannesburg, together with the Digital Arts Faculty of Wits. And since then, we've been working on different gaming activities. And this year, for the first time, we're cooperating with the Media Center in Karlsruhe, which is one of the most famous media art spaces in Germany. And they have a permanent exhibition on gaming. And there's a selection that we brought to the Goethe Institute in South Africa tonight.
Now, these have been hand-picked from a permanent collection in Germany, and they all look very, very different, and some are controversial, some not so controversial.
So some of the games, we chose them because they're aesthetically interesting. There's one game that won a prize because of its aesthetics. There's a very famous artist in the exhibition who has at some point decided to make a game. So there's games that were chosen because of aesthetics, and there's other games that were chosen because of the content. So for example, the game that we see behind us is one of the controversial games. It plays at the East German border when Germany was still divided. And there's one player who's the refugee and the other one is the border guard who's trying to find him.
So it seems that the buzzword for this would be morality gaming. Now, what are some of the trends that you see picking up pace in the gaming world right now?
I think morality is definitely an issue that we've been confronted with, and particularly this game. So some people were saying, how can you choose a conflict like the East-Western German border? How can you actually have one of the gamers shoot the other player? And it's such a real life thing that actually happened. So the makers were saying, actually, you have a choice as a border guard not to shoot. So why do people end up shooting? So I think that's definitely a discussion that's been going on for a long time. I think aesthetics is also a trend where there's definitely people trying to refine the aesthetics of games continuously to make them more real or more beautiful or whatever. Yeah.
I also feel like there's kind of a throwback and a trend of making games look very retro, back to like Pac-Man days or Tetris as we know it.
Yeah, definitely true. There's also at least one game in there that looks totally retro, Fez. It's called Fez, and you kind of climb, and it looks very retro in the beginning. And then the clue is that once you reach a certain stage, it becomes 3D. And then you advance in aesthetics, yeah.
Okay, then you become a cool kid in the modern world. I get it, I see how the story goes. Well, why do you feel it's so important to do these exchanges, and international ones at that, in terms of something like gaming?
I think it's actually just engaging with the contemporary world, you know? So gaming is a trend that becomes bigger and bigger, and it's easy to dismiss it and say, this is not art. But some of the works are real art pieces, and a lot of the young people today engage with gaming. So I think it's just a matter of keeping up with what is important to have a gaming exhibition.
Does it excite you to think that someone in their bedroom can now be making something that can reach the other end of the world and become a big, big hit?
Yeah, I think it's amazing, actually. And we, as part of the program that we're running, we're bringing game developers from all over Africa to the Amaze Festival this year. And it's quite amazing to see that there's people in Nigeria and in Kenya and in all these parts of the world making these extremely interesting works. And they actually not yet connected, but some of their works have traveled further than they ever have. Yeah.
Well, viva gaming, viva. Well, word on the street is that it gets a little graphic in here. Parental guidance is advised. Enter at your own risk. So we've entered a rather dark den, and just by the looks of things, the games have actually become slightly more realistic and a little bit more adventurous. Let's go check it out. Now this one is called Shadow of the Colossus and looks quite martial artish. Right, now from black stallions and knights in shining armor to a photorealistic game and chasing a serial killer. This is bound to be a hot favorite. Next, we're off to chat to Stephen 2, a local game developer and creator of 2+ Games.